In South Florida, Mayor Cid.
Appreciate
It's
you,
our honor. What did you do before your? Let's start more important. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Hareb Christian in Hialeah.
Who was your favorite teacher?
Oh, my favorite principal was
No,
'cause
teacher.
Teacher. Oh, that's
Okay, middle school. Where'd you go to
that's-
school?
That Hareb.
Okay,
I was at Hareb.
high school.
Pace.
Okay, Pace. Who was your favorite teacher?
Mr. Masters. Actually, we talked the other day. I'm gonna go visit his class in about a week.
Okay, who was your favorite? Give me a couple of favorite teachers.
So probably at Hareb, Miss Bello, but also Pastor Diaz.
Are they still there?
No, Pastor Diaz has passed away. Miss Bello moved on, but our yearbook teacher back then is still there at Hareb, and I see her every day. So shout out to Miss Vasconcelos.
Hareb is. Let's talk about that school because you grew up there. I know it's a small school. Give it a little history about it, how to start, where it's coming. I know that it's flying quickly, growing quickly, but talk about it.
So it's a working class school where the entire vision behind it with Pastor Diaz and Zoila, his wife, opened Hareb in the 70s and 80s, was that the working class would have an opportunity to put their kids there. I'll never forget, my mom couldn't afford to have me there, and he had ran into my mom. He's like, look, I would love for your kids to be here, to stay here. Don't even worry about it. You pay me when you can pay me.
And how far
They
away
worked it.
did you live?
I lived about 2 blocks away at the time from Hareb. But yeah, it's a great school. I teach.
Is it a Christian
a
school?
class. It is.
Is there a church connected to it?
There is a Baptist church connected to it. Yes, Pastor Castro.
You know, it's interesting. As I did a class, one of your classes there, and I met a student that spends an hour or 2 hours on a bus.
Every day.
It's not a school bus, a public.
Public bus, and he does that because he wants to ensure his mom that he has those opportunities that she didn't have, right? So he wakes up every morning about 5, 6 a.m., gets on the bus, gets down to the bus stop down the street from Hareb, and jogs to school the rest of the way. But he's on the basketball team as well. He does great. He's doing great in school. But I think that shows you when you want to do something, that everybody has that ability. You just got to put in a little bit of work.
So where'd you go to college?
I went to various stops. I went to Miami-Dade College. I went to FIU, St. Thomas. But I had never finished.
I know. Listen. I'm giving you a layup.
All right.
I don't ask the question unless I know the answer.
Okay.
I know you just finished a couple years ago.
I did.
When your dad was.
My dad was in hospice.
But he was still alive when you.
And he was still alive, and I know that was something that was very important to him. So I worked really hard. Furman Vasquez, the president of North Campus, I had 2 math classes left, and I was like, this is going to be incredibly hard. And it was. I will have to stay up late at night studying math that I hadn't studied since I was in high school, but I got it done. I was able to graduate with my AA. I had 4 classes left at St. Thomas. I literally got it done, but both of them, Furman Vasquez and David A. Armstrong, when I graduated, then I couldn't walk because my dad couldn't leave his bed. They both went to my dad's home and presented me with the diploma there. Literally, the last one, the bachelor's, weeks before my dad passed on. But that gave him a lot of comfort, knowing. Yeah, I told him, I go, Pop, your mission's accomplished, because I knew how important it was for him to move on to heaven, knowing that I had that degree.
And you just get your master's?
I did.
In what? What's your master's in?
Ethical leadership. It's a program that President Armstrong really believes in. He said, look, we need ethical leaders, not only here, but that make an impact globally. And it's an incredible program. I signed up, worked really hard. Just finished about 3 weeks ago. So I officially have my master's, and it looks like I'm heading towards the PhD route, because I'm a big believer now more than ever in being a lifelong learner, right? One of the things I learned as mayor is that there's folks in government that I deal with every day, on the city council or staff everywhere. There's people that tell you, no, this is the way it is. This is the way we've always done it. This is the way it is. And now, being a learner, I'm like, wait a second. We can improve. Even if we're 40, 50, 60, we can still get better. So, yeah, that's the path that I'm going to go. And I think I'm going to sign up a little bit later this year and start that PhD path.
So, what have you done for a living? And excuse me, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
Ages?
14, 12, and then we waited a little bit, and we have a 1-year-old.
Lucky you.
Yeah, amazing. 2 boys and 1 girl.
Your wife? Her name?
Melissa.
And how long you been with her?
We've been together 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. We met very young. Melissa was 20 years old. I was 23, and yeah, we
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Did she grow up in Hialeah, Miami Lakes?
No. She's from the Midwest. She's from Chicago.
No, wait, Midwest? You mean like Hialeah? She's from Chicago?
She's from Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm jealous because she tells me all these stories of growing up, going to Bulls games, and watching Michael Jordan. I'm like,
what part of Chicago?
She was from right the suburb on north side. I believe it's Tinley Park area, Orland Park area, but right outside. But they were big White Sox. I think it was the South Side. White Sox fans.
White Sox.
Okay.
I'm familiar with Chicago. You know, Chicago's a great town. They got the Chicago White Sox, beautiful stadium. Wrigley beat the hell, and it doesn't matter. This town is divided.
100%.
Right.
100%.
It's pretty wild. It's a great town, Chicago.
I love it. I love visiting, and her family. A lot of her family's still up there.
So how'd you meet her?
I was an aide in the state legislature.
For who?
1 year that year, working for Eddie Gonzalez, state rep at the time, Eddie Gonzalez, and she was up there as well, working for a legislator out of Orlando, and we met. Would make Cuban coffee all the time. All the aides would come in and started chatting, and
the rest is history. Okay, so you're an aide for Eddie. Then where'd you go from there?
So after that, I decided to leave the state legislature. I was an aide for 7 years. Incredible opportunity, right? Started when I was 21, finished when I was 28. Decided to run for city council. Of
Miami Lakes.
Of Miami Lakes. Ran against a 14-year incumbent, 12-year incumbent at the time. A good friend of mine today, Mary Collins.
Big Republican?
Yep.
How old is she, 100 now?
I don't know, but I do know
she was a former county commissioner, correct?
Former county commissioner, ran for Congress, a former Republican state committee woman, founder of Miami Lakes, and not too many people thought we would win, and I knocked on about 5,000 to 6,000 votes.
I'm going to tell you a story about Mary Collins. She might not remember it. Hurricane Andrew hit what year?
In 94?
92.
92.
So, that's right. Tell your wife. It might be your wife. Could be your wife. Could be your wife. You better check that. So, August, the hurricane hits. I was a president of the volunteer as president of Pop Warner. President. And the parks director says to me, there's going to be no football. I said, they need something to do. Back then, we had 10,000 football players, 6,000 cheerleaders. They have to. Park director says, no football in Dade County. It was, I don't know, maybe it was 20 parks. So I go to the county commissioner, Mary Collins, who at that time, one of her categories was parks. I said, Commissioner Collins, we need to take care of this. 2 days later, all the parks were open, no lights, and Pop Warner got to play. Because most of the parks back then were used as trash dumps. Because they had to take the trash, put it somewhere. The destruction of homes. But Mary Collins, she's a tough woman.
Definitely. She's a great friend, big supporter. So even though one thing I learned about from her, and that's an incredible story. When I see her, I'm going to share that with her.
She might not remember, but she went to bat against the county director, said, no, we're going to do this. We need to do. And I go, wow.
She's incredible because even the night when I won and I beat her that night, she called me and we had a long conversation. She was like, Manny, I wish you all the best. And to this day, she's been a huge supporter, has always supported me. So there's an incredible amount of class there, right, that I think other folks in public service overall can learn from. Even though I won, incredibly gracious, called me right away. The results came in at 7:30. I'll never forget, called me and said, Manny, I wish you all the best, and I am here to help.
Wait, what year was that?
2012.
Okay. So you were commissioner for how long?
About 4 years. But what was interesting was that's when the issues had happened with the previous mayor. There was an arrest. There was this whole constitutional issue. So I became the vice mayor at about 28, 29. And I was literally leading the town because at that point there was a legal fight. So all the major meetings, the mayor, the interim mayor who was there was Wayne Slane, who was a founding mayor, another great friend of mine, but he couldn't participate in those meetings. So I was literally the
he was the interim while the lawsuit was passed.
Exactly, and he was part of the lawsuit. So I was leading all those meetings.
At what age?
At 28, 29 years old.
Was it nerve-wracking?
It was a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little nervous.
Okay, so
first,
the settle happened. The mayor came back, and you ran for mayor.
I did. I ended up running for mayor at the time.
Against who?
Michael Pizzi, Wayne Slane, and Caesar Mestre at the time. It ended up just being three of us. Caesar decided not to run, and he was a great friend of mine today. We ended up winning. A lot of people thought that I was crazy, that there was no chance we were going to win. The first poll, this is a real story, first poll came out, and I was in last place. And I remember I had 16%. I think Pizzi was at 30, Slane was at 29, Caesar. What most folks that don't know politics were like, man, you got to get out of the race. You're not going to win. When I looked at it, I was like, wait a second. We have a better chance than anybody else because I'm the only one up here that's never been mayor. I'm at 16 already, and these folks that have been mayor are under 30 or under. We're going to win this. And
The other people, they just had name recognition. Doesn't mean people are voting for them.
exactly. So once we started working hard, we almost ended up winning in the first round. Got about 46.
And who are you in the
47%.
runoff with?
Michael Pizzi. And at that point, we ended up getting.
Who's now today, as of right now, the attorney for Medley.
He is.
Yes.
He is.
As of right now.
He is. No, look, and I wish him all the best. We ended up winning by a large margin. I think I got like 78%, largest margin in town history. But with that, and that's what the biggest advice I share with folks, when people vote for you, yeah, it's a great feeling, but there's also, it's sacred because they're instilling their trust in you. So to me, I knew I had that weight on my shoulders that I had to turn things around.
Okay, so you've been mayor how many elections? Two. And you're termed out?
I'm turned down.
Okay, so what do you do for a living? Because people think you guys make a lot of money as elected official.
No. My salary as mayor is not a lot at all. So right now, I own a restaurant. I bus tables on the weekends. I cook.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Mayor's Cafe in Miami Lakes.
French toast?
French toast is fire. Not gonna
People,
lie.
it's this big. It's huge. Strawberries on top, whipped cream.
Nutella.
Oh, yeah.
Nutella. Can't forget that. So but what I've learned from the restaurant business is that grind, right? That working class perspective that's so important to inject in politics. During the COVID pandemic, it gave me such an incredible empathy to understand. A lot of times people in government were like, hey, let's just shut everything down. Shut everything down, and nobody cared because they had their salaries. But people that were out on the street, they couldn't make ends meet. They weren't eating. And that's when I had to step up. I remember taking on the county government, and some people were mad at me. I was like, you can't just arbitrarily shut down businesses without understanding the impact it's going to have on people that live paycheck.
I'm not going to go national politics, but China shut everything down, and they're having huge problems now in the COVID issue. So I think the United States did an okay job at it. I think Florida did unbelievable. But Miami Lakes, so we're going to talk about Miami Lakes. Are you friendly with any of the Grahams?
I am. I'm friendly with all of them. We have a great working relationship. There's times that I've voted no on their projects, times I voted yes, but we have
Well,
open dialogue.
when you say I mean like Bob Graham and Quinn.
Definitely. Bob was the first phone call that I got the day after I won. I'll never forget, he calls me, he's like, hey, Manny. I'm like, hey, hello, how you doing? Who's it? That's Bob Graham.
Not Senator Graham, Bob Graham.
No, Bob Graham. He goes, I want to have lunch with you. And I'll never forget the following week, him and I just sit down for lunch, and he just sits there and gives me an entire history of the town. And he's like, I trust
That
you.
was beautiful.
Oh, no, that meant so much to me because somebody of that stature, former U.S. Senator, the most exclusive club in the world, right, and former governor, took his time to sit down with me.
And he was
thoughts.
going to run for president, right?
He did. He ran for he should have, by the way, for all the Democrats out there, the guy that should have been vice president for those Democrats should have been Bob Graham. I mean,
Right.
I'm not a Democrat, but the advice, I think in hindsight, everybody realizes Bob Graham would have been incredible.
Absolutely. Did he take out his notepad out of his pocket?
He did. He had notes.
I love it. Here's this guy taking notes. I go, why is he doing that? Now I'm at that age. I go, I better start taking notes.
I have a picture with him where we're meeting, and I say, Bob, let's take a picture. It's me, him, and Stu Wiley. He's like, no, you sit down in the chair. I was like, there's no chance I'm doing that. You're sitting. No, he made me sit down in his chair, and he put his arm around me and took. I have that picture. I'll share it with you a little later.
It's the Graham family, just good people. And so he gave you the history of Miami Lakes. When I was growing up, I'm a few years older. I remember going up there. It was cattle all over. And now there's some cattle in certain areas. And people go, why are there cattle? It's just tax breaks.
The Greenbelt law in Florida.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So Miami Lakes, did it expand since have you bought, not bought, has the city expanded your boundaries, or is it the same boundaries that when you got it?
Same boundaries. We are looking at possible annexation of various commercial areas around us that already say that they are Miami Lakes.
It's funny, it's like greater Miami Lakes. You're not in the boundaries, but they want to be.
Oh, all the time. You go to those businesses, there's some that you go to today and they have murals that say Miami Lakes, yet they're a mile out. So those conversations are being had right now. It's like, look, if they're already saying they're Miami Lakes, they're utilizing our brand, why don't they just join the town? So those conversations are being had. But what's interesting about Miami Lakes that's different when it comes to annexation is that I think we're the only city in Dade County that requires our residents to vote first before the residents that are going to
vote
be annexed.
to annex it.
Yeah, to agree with the annexation.
Wait, so you got a double.
It's a double vote.
And I think that's great. Some cities go, we don't want that. And here your people would want it or not want it. That's great.
So our residents are empowered.
Yeah. The west side of the Palmetto, people don't realize there's Miami Lakes.
Yes, that's all. That's where I live. That's where
right, but I mean, people don't realize that's where cattle were 30 years ago.
Yep.
All right, so your restaurant is in what shopping center?
It's where, and I always say this because this is where
it's hard. You got to get that turn in quick.
Yeah. Where the Cancun Grill's at, where Martin and Cancun Grill, right there. It's the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. It's
the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. When did you open the restaurant?
2019. But we signed the lease, and this is something a lot of folks, when they see business owners, they don't understand the behind the scenes. We signed the lease in December of 17. It took us a year because we picked up an old space and we had to bring it up to code. So it was a
expensive.
Incredibly expensive.
Did you have to bring in you had to put the grill in?
We had to put a new hood. We had to fix the grease trap. We had to do new
That's
connections. I mean, you name new plumbing. I mean, there was nothing left in it that we could use because everything had to be brought up to code.
So your whole perspective of retail business changed.
Oh, absolutely. I have an incredible admiration to those business owners because they're risking their capital,
their life.
They're signing personal guarantees sometimes, where they're guaranteeing that lease, regardless of the income that comes into that restaurant, is going to be paid, whatever's owed on that lease. So imagine that, and that's why I tell folks you have to be empathetic with like one pet peeve of mine. When a new place opens up in our community and somebody shows up the first day and gives them a bad review on Yelp or
come on,
what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you guys? You can't do that, and that's where I tell folks, look, you have to understand what people go through to bring their dreams to reality.
I don't know if you know them. How many businesses are there in occupation licenses in Miami Lakes?
Thousands, because what happens is that you have not only the office spaces, not only your retail spaces, but you have home businesses. So people that work from home, a lot of times they might pull it. I know the state changed those rules recently
because of COVID.
But yeah, you're talking about thousands of businesses in our community. Our industrial area is one of the largest in Northwest Dade, and one of the most important. Right, Cordis is still there. You have the largest vitamin manufacturer in South America, Central America, and the Caribbean.
And you're also the home of one of the greatest bowls,
the Orange Bowl.
Right.
Yeah. Orange Bowl is in Miami Lakes.
Right. I know that.
Yeah.
Because when I speak to the CEO, he goes, we're in Miami Lakes. I go, I know where you are. Yeah. It's those are good people, the Orange Bowl.
They're incredible people, and they do a great job in that.
Well, let's talk about a touchy situation in Miami Lakes. I thought that park bond was going to pass. And because Miami Lakes is known for a great organization, great sports, great youth sports. That park is beautiful. And the people just misunderstood it. They didn't want to pay the tax.
I think there wasn't. So here's what happened. The state legislature about a year ago, because of another bond issue in another part of Florida, passed a rule that cities can't put out information, send out information to homes on any sort of bonds. So we had this whole plan, and when that happened, we were hamstrung, and our residents couldn't get the information on this. So a lot of people showed up to the ballot box and didn't have the right information. So so you had folks who took the opportunity and sometimes misinformed people. So, hey, don't vote for this. This is terrible. Don't do. So you had two private groups going back and forth that really didn't have the proper resources to educate the public. Doing sometimes I think a disservice because people didn't understand what was going on.
Wait, so at the big park, is it volunteer organizations or is it city organizations? Well, like, is the soccer, the baseball, the football, are they Optimus clubs or are there any city-run programs?
So what we do is we sign long-term contracts with the Optimus Club, with the soccer club, now a basketball organization.
Where's the basketball play? It's indoors somewhere, right?
Outdoors. So we were indoors, but we brought back the outdoors because we kind of realized something. The two NBA players that came out of Miami Lakes, they grew up playing outdoors.
Who are they?
Steve Blake and James Jones.
Who, Dylan?
Steve Blake
Yeah, right.
and James Jones, who's the top general manager in the NBA today.
Does he remember Miami Lakes?
100%. Steve Blake.
Steve Blake, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
He grew up in Miami Lakes, and then he ended up playing at Killian.
Yep.
But he played two other high schools on the way, right?
Miami High and Oak Hill.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know him, but I just know I love that his track is. He was a competitor.
He was incredible. Kobe Bryant's favorite teammate of all time. What Kobe said that he was a psycho competitor, that he would not stop.
And how tall was he?
Steve is like 6'3", 6'4". He's not for NBA standards.
But in high school, he wasn't that big.
No.
He grew late.
He did. But he won a national championship in Maryland. But he put in the work, and that's something we tell our kids every day. Look, you work as hard as somebody like Steve Blake, who took not 100 shots, 1,000 shots every day, and look at the outcome. A 13-year NBA career.
Where's he live?
He's in Central Florida now. So he was in Oregon for a while. He was a big Portland Trailblazer there, and now he's in Central
Okay,
Florida.
so basketball. How many kids are in your basketball league?
Oh, just overall between high school, middle school, and the ones in the rec leagues.
The rec leagues. A couple hundred, right? 500, 300?
Oh, in the town? Yeah. Easy. Between Shula's has about 250. The new one has about 160.
Okay, your football program. You
largest flag football program in South Florida.
Flag football.
We don't have tackle anymore in Miami Lakes. We used to, but we have the largest flag football program, which is interesting because a lot of these kids end up playing tackle football in high school and being very successful and getting college scholarships.
Well, it's college scholarships. They go to flag football tournaments now, these college scouts, because they look how tall a kid jumps, pass. So tackle football is very expensive.
It is, but I will tell you this: for a school, for example, Barbara Goldman, the amount of pride that their football program brings to that school is immense.
Yeah.
So they've invested so much in that because they bring all the local kids. They work really hard, and a lot of them end up getting scholarships.
Yeah, but the younger kids, where do they play tackle football? Is there if Miami Lakes doesn't have it, and they don't want to play flag football, what's the closest one?
Hialeah. So there's a new league that started off in Hialeah. Their old program kind of went to the wayside, like a lot of the
Right.
tackle football programs in our area. But now there's a new one that just started up, and they're playing their games at Mylander. They're doing a great job. So
It's funny. I went to my friend's kid plays on Miramar, and he says, "Meet me at Milan Park," and I go, "What?" And it was like a tournament, a jamboree. So it's Milan Park High School Stadium is the best.
it's really, really nice.
Okay, so Miami Lakes, it's growing so fast. You're getting bigger businesses coming in.
Yep.
Do you have an economic development department at Miami Lakes? Are you going to get one? Are you thinking about it? Do you have somebody who does stuff like that?
We do.
Because it's growing so fast, and there's got to be a reason.
We do. So we have an economic development committee that works closely with us, and then our chamber works very closely with us, and there's a B&I group as well. So we all get together. For example, we do a ribbon cutting, and it's become very special. Every business that calls us, no matter the size, we take our time to go because we understand. Listen, when you're signing that personal guarantee, you want at least somebody to. But we do something different. We bring everybody. The entire chamber shows up. Our economic development team shows up. I show up. But when we cut the ribbon, customarily, the mayor cuts the ribbon, right? No. Miami Lakes, you know what I do?
What?
Hand over the ribbon, hand over the scissors to the business owners. Because I tell them, I go, hey, you guys worked so hard to get to this point. I'm going to be here sharing glory, right? Taking a nice picture. But the reality is you guys deserve it. And to them, that means so much. And they end up, what's interesting is we sign the ribbon, we do all this. They end up framing the amount of businesses.
Of
that
course,
we walk
and they
into,
put it on the wall.
and that to them, just that gesture alone of welcoming them and for them to cut the ribbon just changes the perspective.
I was in Doral yesterday, the new mayor. She did 6 ribbon cuttings in 1 hour. That's how many new businesses are opening. And I say, Doral, that's in the Northwest. It just shows you the growth of what's happening in Dade County. And you guys, for big businesses, I think you have a huge advantage because Opelika Airport is right there.
Oh yeah, well, the flight path. We're actually visiting Opelika in about a week. Flight path is right over our community. The majority of businesses in that sector, I mean, everybody just wants to be in the town because it's accessible. You're on 57th Avenue, getting on the Grandy. You have access to the Grandy, I-75, the Turnpike, Palmetto, 95. So what happens is the ecosystem there is just going through the roof.
Golf, you have Shula's.
Big news, big news. I don't know if I told you this before, but a $110 million redevelopment happening at the golf course.
At Shula's Golf Course.
At Shula's Golf Course. Now it's called Miami Lakes
Golf
Course. They changed the name. They're tearing everything down.
Right. There's no hotel rooms on the golf course. There's hotels on the main.
There's hotel rooms on the golf course, but those are getting torn down and they're turning into luxury apartments overseeing the golf course. A 300-person
Apartments or hotel rooms?
Apartments.
Really?
Yeah. And a high ceiling restaurant that's going to be put in the bottom, luxury restaurant. You're going to have similar to Top Golf style little booths that you're going to be able to rent to in the range. But here's the most important part about this. Golf is an inaccessible sport. I was a kid that couldn't afford to play golf. I know you know Charlie DeLuca, the first tee.
Right? He's moving to you guys.
They're moving to Miami Lakes. So all those kids like me, I never played golf till I was in my 30s. I got invited to, when I was a mayor, I got invited to a golf tournament at Pace. So that's the first time I played golf. But now all these kids like me that could not have that opportunity are not only going to learn from some incredible folks like Charlie, but they're going to have some of the top golf players in the world there every single day with them playing. And I think for those kids, it's going to change their trajectory in life because not only are they going to learn golf, but they're getting after-school tutoring every single day at that golf course.
Wait, how many schools are there in Miami Lakes, give or take?
Right now, you have 2 high schools. You have the top magnet school in the nation, Miami Lakes Educational Center. You have Miami Lakes Middle, Miami Lakes K-8, and Bob Graham. Then you have some parochial schools, a lot of daycares, a lot of smaller schools.
A lot of charter schools.
Right on our border. No charter school in Miami Lakes per se, but right on our border you have Matter Lakes Academy, one of the fastest growing charter schools
they're
in South Florida.
Oh, absolutely. Is that Academica?
That's Academica. Fernando and the whole crew, they do a great job of educating kids.
He hit a home run, and people fight to get in their schools because their education level is really high, and it's good for your students because I say your students in Miami Lakes. You want everybody to get a better education.
And look, I think Matter Lakes alone has a waiting list of 400, 500 kids. And my heart goes out to those kids, too, because they want that opportunity. They just opened up. They do my podcast. They actually run my podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you had a podcast working out of the City Hall?
Out of my office at City Hall. Really, really amazing setup. Managed by Matter Lakes Academy, by their students. They loved it so much that they created a broadcast academy. Started off with about 4 kids. Now they have 90 kids in the program, 3 teachers, and the St. Thomas University saw this. Lou Perez, their dean of communication, saw this and said, you know what, let's be part of this. So now we just moved it to St. Thomas. We just recorded the first one. The high school kids, they're working out a dual enrollment partnership where the kids that are in the broadcast academy are going to learn in real time at St. Thomas and get college credits. And
at St. Thomas.
And the college kids at St. Thomas, this is their class. This is an actual course learning broadcasting, every single aspect of broadcasting at St. Thomas in real time. And I'm an adjunct professor now. They're over there as well. So.
You know, it's interesting because it's so important. You know, Christopher Columbus has their own broadcasting program, and that's really broadcast. It's social media to me.
Yep.
They're learning everything. All right, we're gonna do some little fun with you.
Oh man,
ready for this?
I'm a little nervous.
Your superhero, go. As a kid.
Superman? No, G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe. To this day, I think in my mom's house, I still have the G.I. Joes left.
Your kids' birthdays, go.
5/17/2008, 10/10/10, and then 1/12/2022.
Weiss.
2/14/86. I'm saying all these things on On the entire thing on
In-laws, are they still around?
in-laws. I listen. You.
What's your wife's first name?
That's no.
What's your wife's first name?
Melissa?
Melissa. The mayor doesn't know your parents' birthdays? Really?
No. What happens is it's on the calendar. We have everybody's birthdays.
Okay,
on
next.
The calendar.
Okay.
I just gave the entire birthdays to my family.
Okay. Now there's a lot of restaurants in Miami Lakes. I want if there's, I don't want your favorite. Give me any of them. Tacos. Give me a couple restaurants.
I got to give you Martin at Cancun, Rafa at Los Magüeyes, and then you got Mo and the crew at Chelas.
There you go. That's the
Yeah,
way to do it. Okay.
Got to take care of my folks.
Hamburger places.
Oh, I mean, right now we're actually getting BurgerFi. We really don't have a lot of burger spots. Boss Burger in the area, but BurgerFi is opening up.
Where?
In the Cypress Village Shopping Center.
All right. Thanksgiving. Give me some words that you love about Thanksgiving, other than family and turkeys.
Just love. I'll be honest with you, love. That's the time of year you just sit down at the table and you really reflect, and you show love, and people show you love, and I think that's
Okay.
so amazing.
All right. Growing up in Miami Lakes, your favorite cowboy? Who's your favorite cowboy? Clint Eastwood, John Wayne. What's your favorite cowboy movie?
I didn't watch. Like, I grew up in Hialeah, Miami. We didn't watch.
Look who's popping in there.
I don't remember.
Jeff Garcia is in the house.
I see we brought North Hialeah.
Oh my god! Hey, we gotta cut that out. We gotta cut that out. We're like,
Okay, your favorite pizza place? Go.
oh, I got a couple because I
Name
can't
them
leave
all.
anybody
Name
out.
all of
I got my boy Gino and Sal at D Piazza, Gloria and Hector at Peaks of Scene. I got Dom and the whole crew at Domenico's. So I can't. And Salvatore's next to Flanagan's.
Okay, your favorite fish place?
Favorite fish place?
Where do you buy? Where do you eat fish in Miami Lakes?
That's a. I mean, George, where do you eat fish at?
George?
You gotta help me out with it.
Okay, forget that.
You know what? No, you know what? Dr. Limon. Rufino at Dr. Limon. He just opened up another restaurant. Shout out to him. He owns 3 restaurants
In Miami Lakes?
In Miami Lakes.
Wow. Okay. Favorite college football team?
Oh, the Hurricanes.
Favorite pro football team?
Dolphins. It's just-
And who's your favorite wide receiver, punt returner on the Buffalo Bills, who has a business
Isaiah McKenzie.
in Miami Lakes?
Listen, now that they beat us, I am cheering for Isaiah. So he's a good dude. I mean, he's done a great job at La Traila, him and Mel.
Yeah.
Great guys.
Great barbecue. What's up? How you doing?
I think we're on.
Come on in.
I'm saying hello to you guys. We're bringing new musical love in here. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
George?
Good to see you guys.
How are you, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Okay. Okay, ready. Mayor. Favorite chicken place?
Man, you guys.
Keep singing.
All day, brother. You got to try Francisca. I don't know if you've ever tasted.
Where is that?
Right on the end cap of Main Street on 67th Avenue.
All right, next. Your favorite animal or pet? Go.
I have a Cavapoo at home, a King Charles Cavalier and a poodle. Minnie, shout out to Minnie. I love you. I love my dog Minnie. She is.
Next up. Oh, this is a tough one. Favorite sushi place?
The guy next to me sells sushi.
Who?
Sushi Bomb. But I also love Sushi Saki. They do a great job as well. So
Good.
there's too many in Miami Lakes. I just don't want to leave anybody out because people get, the King and I. Who else? The Thai Cafe.
Okay.
I just gotta name. We gotta name them all because I don't want to leave.
Your favorite Christmas gift as a kid?
My favorite kid. I'm not gonna. Very very honest. GI Joes. As a kid, I think I still have them somewhere. In my
Oh,
mom's
I'm
house.
sure you do.
I was a huge GI Joe fan. To this day,
Favorite hot dog place?
Arbetters. I know we're going to Arbetters after this.
Yes.
Jeff's paying.
He's a Hall of
Jeff's
Fame.
Jeff's paying.
You know
so
he's in the Hall of Fame.
We're all going to ride out there.
The Garcias were inducted in the Arbetter Hall of Fame.
Are you in both of you guys are in the Hall of Fame there?
Yeah, I am. I have a hot dog. There's a great.
Serious?
Yeah.
All right, we're after this. We're gonna pass by there and
You
eat,
got
eat
it.
the Grant. Yeah, try the Grant Miller dog. So,
Okay. Last but not
what is the Grant Miller dog like?
Extra big hot dog.
Okay.
Jumbo dog.
Okay. Next up, give me the rye excluding you, why is Miami Lakes? It's magical. Why? It always feels magical there. It's like you pull in. It's like Christmas. Why?
There's very few places in South Florida that you're born as a kid, you can get raised there, you can grow up there, through your teen years, you can be a young adult, you can raise a family, you get married, raise a family, you can retire, and you can just have the entire spectrum in one place without ever having to leave, live, work, and play. And I think it makes it very, very, very special to have that in one community. So I think that's what makes Miami Lakes very special, because you have that, just the entire spectrum right now where folks are happy, either from little kids to 90, 100 years old, whatever it may be. I know our oldest resident right now, Rosanelle Hammer, who's a great friend. She's 103. She just turned 103 like about a month ago. And she's still working, by the way. Still works. She's a realtor, a legend. Sold the first home in Miami Lakes, and to this day, she's still working. And so you have the youngest residents, and you have all the way to Rosanelle, and folks are happy.
I have to jump back to the food. Your restaurant, the Mayor's Cafe, has French toast, but what else? What are your hours?
6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the weekdays, and then 3 p.m. on weekends. But it's a grind, man. On the weekends, you'll see me cooking. So if we're down to cook, I'm back there flipping omelets, making French toast, pancakes.
What's the number one seller there?
No, French toast, but our omelets. We have the ham and cheese omelet, our eggs Benedict, our hollandaise sauce, which is unique. We could have just gone with a canned version, right? That's the easy way to do it. We make our hollandaise sauce every single morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. By the way, that's an art. I don't know if you guys if you ever try to do it. You get the egg yolk and the butter. You got to get it at the right temperature. If not, it breaks apart. So it is a work of art.
And we got to talk in the west side of Miami Lakes. A lot of new restaurants are coming in.
Yes, there's one that opened up last weekend, Café Mi Vitrola, which is another one that Rufino, the owner of Dr. Limon, owns, and it's a great spot. It used to be a Silver Spoon. That was the old Hooligans in Miami Lakes, right? And he found one of the old tables from Hooligans. He put it up on the wall. Really, really cool. They had left a nice note there 20, 30 years ago, and he left it on the wall. But yeah, you have that restaurant just opened up. You have the folks from Chelas. They're opening up another spot on Main Street. Shout out to Julio Cabrera, the top cantinero, top bartender in the nation. That he was ranked a couple years ago, and he's opening up there. He's South Jose Street, and there's another Mexican spot opening up called La Diosa. They're on South Jose Street, and they just signed the lease a couple months ago where Beverly Hills Cafe was at. Which we miss.
Let's closing this out. The most important thing: you coach basketball.
Yep.
How's your basketball team?
It's great. So
you're at 1A. What level are you at?
I'm on 2A.
2A.
What is fulfilling about the team is when you see the progress. So I told them, look, this is a rebuild year. So our focus isn't on
reload.
A reload year. It's not wins and losses, even though we're doing okay, but it's about improving every day. And what I've realized also as a coach, and I know you get this, is that a lot of times coaches put this pressure on kids like, hey, you got to make it. Very few people make it to the NBA. Less than 1%. So what I tell you is, I go, look, this is character building. And if you get to play college and go to school for free, that's the biggest W that you can get. And the icing on the cake is playing professional. But learning those character skills, that teamwork, everything that you can utilize in whatever you're going to do the rest of your life, that's the most important thing. And if you can get a free education, no matter where it's at, well, that's the biggest W.
Talking to a basketball coach and talking to somebody who has 2 degrees, working on a 3rd degree.
I know I got 3. Right now I got 3. I'm working on my 4th.
Okay. There's more money in academics than athletics scholarships.
100%. So that's I teach a speech and debate class. I teach a crypto class, and now I teach that at the one at St. Thomas on communications. And I tell that to my kids all the time. I go, you all have, for example, I'm gonna give you an example where kids need to pay attention. Now you can start doing enrollment at FIU, at Miami-Dade, in 8th and 9th grade. By the time we have a sophomore at our school, that she's not only graduating with her college degree in the 10th grade, but she's graduating high school in the 10th grade. So she's leaving this year with a college degree, a high school degree, and she's going to start on her master's.
As a junior.
as a junior. And though that to me is their game changer.
It's priceless.
It is, but it's accessible to every single kid. There's times that we just gotta like move them in that direction. I think even the exam to get dual enrollment's like $5. I've told them, I go, we'll take care of it. We'll wash cars for a week and we'll raise money to pay for everybody. But you know, it is accessible to everybody, and the classes are free. Schools pay for it.
You are 2A. You play any big basketball teams?
Play the best team in the state in our district, Sagemont. Sagemont is top. They're the only team that got close to Columbus, which just beat LeBron James kids. Yeah, the
It's
Boozer
crazy. They got the Boozer brothers, and then they got this big kid that came in 7'4" and 7 foot.
and they beat LeBron James kid, Bronny James, who's going to be in the NBA very soon. They beat him.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how they go from high school to pro because they changed that. You couldn't do that.
Got to spend, I think, a year in the G League or whatever.
He'll play the G League as a senior and come in or something.
But LeBron has a lot of pull, so you never know.
Yeah, he's going to own a team soon.
Yeah, they'll change those rules. But I think that's a perfect example. But 2A, our district has Sagemont, which is a challenge, and I look forward to those challenges because it gives those kids, you know, that bar that you got to always reach. You know, when you see that type of talent.
Do you have an inside gym at your place?
We don't. We're road warriors
Where you play?
at Miami Springs Rec Center and at Bucky Dent in Hialeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up because, you know, we have to drive back to Miami Lakes because you got a class at 1:30, right?
I do, but we're gonna stop by our betters.
We're stopping
on the
at
way
our
down.
bar.
No, that we're gonna make happen.
We're going to have a Jeff Garcia
Jeff
dog.
Garcia, and we're gonna have
Grant Miller on. All right. I want to thank Mayor Cid coming down. And listen, drive through Miami Lakes. On a Sunday, just go up there. And if you don't want to go to the Miami Lakes, the Shulas for breakfast, go to
Mayor's Cafe.
the Mayor's Cafe. There's going to be a line. You can hang out there. It's all good. Everybody, have a great day. Thank you, Mayor.
Take care. Appreciate it.